again, my friends. So welcome back to Leopard Street, back to the cellar. This one, I want to look at a new piece of rolling stock that's arrived today from Dapol. Let's have a look. This is Leopard Street. So, here we are. This turned up. It's in my email a couple of weeks ago from Rails of Sheffield with this on pre-order. What we've got here, 4F014051, Palethorpe's Fruit D. And this cost me the grand total, if I can find the appropriate piece of paper, of £18.71 from Rails. I'm not sure what they're up for at the moment, but here we go. Usual Dapol packaging, there's really not a lot to it. Opens up, there is a simple clamshell inside, opens up, comes out. It's basic, it does the job. I've not had a wagon from Dapol yet that's turned up damaged. So there we go. Metal wheels. I'll have a close-up look in a minute. They're in. There's no pivoting on them. It's a fairly long wheelbase wagon. Nem pocket couplings with the usual little bit of side-to-side movement. Interestingly, it's clicking. It's interesting. I think the backs of the couplings are just touching in there. We'll see how it works. But yeah, first impressions. Reasonably heavy. My scales around here somewhere to hand. Don't think I have. Oh, hang on, I have. They're here. At least I think they're here. So we shall see. What does this thing weigh? The little scales here. That zero itself. 80 grams. That's pretty good for a wagon. Yeah, you want, if you can get it, 40, 50 grams on an axle. So this is about ideal. So we shall see. But yeah, it's quite nice. Reasonable detail on the underneath. Not massively detailed, but you're going to see it. There's the bits you can see from the side. Footsteps. It's all moulded by the look of it. But who cares as long as it works? That's the main thing. I suspect there may be some bits of this that are glued. I thought they've been quite clever with the moulding of the chassis to get all that done in one piece. I suspect some of these bits of brake rodding and that have been fitted afterwards. Not a problem. Bodywork looks like a single moulding. I'm going to guess the roof. Yeah, the roof's separate. You can feel it moves slightly, so you can see that. I like sausages. Very, very crisp printing as well. Yeah, metal wheels, which are a little bit shiny. Possibly could have done with being blackened, but never mind. Roof vent detail. Yeah. Let's have a look at this thing close up. So here we go, down on the track. The Dapol Fruit D. Now, apparently, these were originally built by the Great Western Railway. So slightly out of my region here, but I'm not that bothered. British Rail carried on building them. So, yeah, it went out all right. The printing on it is really crisp. I zoom in on here. That is really, really nice. I like that. It's only on the sides. It's fairly straightforward. I mean, if we look at the ends, yeah, plain plastic buffers. It's fair enough. It's nicely done though. And the red, if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably moulded red. It may be painted, but it's good. Nice little raised ribbing detail. It is all part of the moulding. There's nothing particularly fancy about these things, but yeah, I quite like that. So you've got the sort of the footstep details on it, which go down, not just the top steps. There's some little ones that lower down as well. So trying to get this, trying to get this so the camera's not in the light. Never mind. If you get that sort of side, you can sort of see it. Now I got 2 of them. Yes, there's another one here. You can come in. Normally I would run wagons in triples. I got these as a pair because they're longer. So I figured, well, if I get longer ones, I can use 2 of them instead of a triple. But they're all right. They seem to be right. They roll quite freely, and we'll go and have a little look at that in a minute. I'll set some trains up. We'll see how they roll down the hill. We'll see how they couple up, and we'll drag some round. But yeah, I mean that's really all there is to say about them. I mean it's fairly typical sort of Dapol wagon. It's a little bit basic, but at that price, sub 20 quid for a decent length wagon. A decent length, quite heavy wagon as well. So we'll see how well they run as a result of that. The bugbears I've had in the past with Dapol vans have been couplings, which seem fine on these. They centre quite nicely, and wheels that are a little bit wobbly. So we'll see how these go. I'm going to set a train up, and we'll give them a run. Okay, a little bit of shuffling around. Here's the 2 wagons set up, and as you can see, I've got 3. These are Dapol banana vans sitting behind. And as you can see, yeah, 2 of these sausage vans, kind of at that end, are not quite the same as 3 of the normal ones. I suspect once all of this has been replaced with KD couplings, it'll look a bit better. They're not at the moment. Got a little bit of a train set up here, so what we're going to do is put the sausage vans between the Dapol brewery vans and the banana vans. There's a Backman brake van on the back. I don't have a Dapol brake van. I don't know if Dapol do brake vans. If they did, I'd have them. And on duty today, we have the Q6, because she's one of my 3 freight locos, and she's the only one that's still got tension lock couplings fitted. So, yeah. So, she's going to have to pull forward and come back down and pick these up, and then we'll see how the couplings work. But, yeah. Other little minor things on the layout. Basically, nothing has happened since the last one. The only difference we have is I've built or part built one of those. So, yeah, never mind. Right, let's bring her back and we'll see how these couplings work. And we shall take them around. We are going to do a little free rolling test in a bit. I'm going to run them round first, though, and we'll see how they run. I'll do a roll down the hill test in a little while. So here we come. Let's line up on here so you can see the couplings. And we shall see how we go. They coupled up together quite nicely. And I'm just going to adjust the coupling on the banana van slightly, because if I don't, it ain't going to work. So coupling, it's just pushing. Now that, in some ways, that's a good sign. It shows they're quite free rolling. A little bit faster. Kadunk. There we are, coupled. Although, not perfectly. Now that's nothing to do with these. That is my good old friends, the banana vans, couplings not being lined up quite right. So I'm going to do that manually. Get in the middle. Basically because I want both hooks engaged. I don't want them derailing as we go around corners. Right, so forwards. Now we'll see how well these things handle being shunted over the point work. Yeah, relatively low speed. But here we go. Rumbling around nicely. Stop there, and we're going to come back over. Now these are medium radius pico points. Code 75 fine scale with a double slip. So let's have a little look and see how it copes with this. not exactly a full-on torture test would be an S curve with set track points. I don't have any. I will at some point, but I don't at the moment. Yeah, they've come back over there quite nicely. I'm just watching to make sure everything else does. Tail end of the train is here, so we'll have another little coupling check. Here they come. I do like how these look. I've actually got... it's doing the same thing. There we are, coupled. I've actually got a Hornby 6-wheeled sausage van around somewhere. We'll have a little run of these. I shall find that and we shall have a look at them together. So next up is going to be out onto the layout. So forwards, we have a green signal, although the loco is somewhat past the green signal, but we'll ignore that for now. Off we go at running speed, and let's see how they go. Yeah, they're coping fairly well with the point work, which is good. I'm just going to... something has derailed. I'm not entirely sure what. It is the Q6 that has derailed, so I suspect that is layout. I'm going to go and sort that out. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, that's that issue fixed. That was, as expected, loco derailed. A board join wasn't quite pushed together properly, so layout problem. Nothing to do with the wagons, they coped fine. This is the Hornby 6-wheel version of the Palethorpe van. This is old. I mean, this thing is 1980s, 1990s. Interesting 6-wheel mechanism that turns and pivots the couplings. This is made in China. It might not be that old, but it's fairly old design. I picked this up a second hand on eBay because I like sausages. So anyway, what we're going to do is a roll test of both of these down my back incline. So here we go. Yeah, the Hornby one, this hill, this bit is quite shallow. So what we're going to do is bring them along. I'm going to give them both a little push. And down there. Now, I've had some wagons that have gone all the way around past where those red LEDs are. This one hasn't. So it's not as free rolling as some. Some of this is probably down to the length of the wheelbase. So we can sort that out. Should put the 6-wheel wagon in as well? Yes, put the 6-wheel wagon in as well. Why not? Let's put it in here. I'm just going to do my level best to get these couplings to behave. Problem with these banana vans is that the couplings don't center properly, but we'll ignore. They're not what we're looking at today. So there we go. And we'll see if they play nicely with the big D couplings on the sausage van. Right. That's the test train. I'm going to go set up and we're going to get it going. Catch you in a sec. Yeah, so they're running around quite nicely, actually. Not really having any trouble with them. Around we go. They're handling the corners quite nicely. I'm going to run around the reversing loop shortly, which will stick them around some 18-inch curves. But yeah, seem to be doing all right. I shall go and turn the train round and we'll try it on the other loop. It's noted they are handling some of my more dodgy track work fairly nicely. There is a problem. Hard to show around here. The rear one has derailed. The rear coach is uncoupled. I think there's a coupling problem. See if you can spot what the problem might be as I try and move these two wagons about. They're buffer locked. Well, buffers are touching. This is reasonably sharp curve. It's about 21 inch though. So, they're tight. Made it around the first couple of times. Then I had the rear wheels of this one start derailing. It's being pushed sideways. I'm going to get it onto a different bit of track and we're going to have a look. Okay, round at the reversing loops. Now, straight track, you can see the sort of distance in buffers there. We come around here onto a curve. This is 18 inches. Bit of a gap there. This one here, bit of a gap to the other Dapol van. Here, no chance. Buffers are locked, and that ain't going around that corner. So if I just uncouple that, put her back on the rails, bring her around here. See, before the coupling hooks can engage, the buffers are touching. What this means is, as we're going around the corner, there's a lot of force pushing the back out. So what's happening is the back is derailing out. Now that's slightly annoying. It's not terminal. It is if you want to use these tension lock couplings. I'm eventually going to swap these for KDs. In fact, I might swap these two for KDs now. But suffice it to say, they don't work on an 18-inch curve. So let's try them on the next one out. And I can bring them around to this bit here and do this manually. Here, couple up, come back. I can feel that. Yeah, there we go. Derailed on that. Something moving. This is 18. This is 20 and a half. So let's try on 23, which is the outer loop. Everything else I've got goes around this. So we go on to here. Even on 23, there's basically no space between that. So curves there are a little bit tighter. And other than that corner under the hill is a bit tighter. What's obviously been happening is it's been going around and it's riding up on the flanges a little bit, but there's enough weight behind it to keep it on until it hits a tighter bit of a curve when you've got no chance. So, a black mark. Unfortunately, they are lovely wagons, but a black mark for that. Basically, it's hard to see. How does it? Because it's black. The coupler pocket. The couplers need to be a little bit longer. Not much. Millimetre or so. Probably be enough. I've got some longer KD couplings. I'm going to give those a try. Now, normally, that close coupling, that looks fantastic. If the buffers were sprung, which they're not, it might cope. But if the buffers are sprung and you went over an S-curve, you're going to get them locking. There's not quite enough clearance between these two. I mean, that looks fantastic. That really does look good. Really good close coupling. But it doesn't make it around the corners. Now, my first thought was, if Dapol said you can't use this on 18-inch curves. Well, it can't quite handle 20 and a half, so I'm going to guess these are maybe... Yeah, I mean, literally, I can just roll these. I mean, yeah, they're just going all over the place here. But if I put these here and I just roll them, yeah, they're sort of going round it, but it's binding. Yeah, there we go. it's just thrown it straight off. So, they are NEM pockets, so fixing that's fine. They couple up to other rolling stock quite nicely, so if you've got one of these, I don't think you're going to have a problem. I'm going to put some KDs on one end of each so I can couple them together as a pair. And I'm going to see if that makes a difference. Back in a mo. Okay, on the desk. So, bring my light back round again. I'm going to see what I'm doing. I do that. If that helps. So what I'm going to have to do is take the couplings out of these little pockets. The easy way is to squeeze the ends and slide them out. Unfortunately, I can't do that here. So I'm just looking for something. I can find my kniff, which should be around. Got it. It's hiding. What you can also do is prise these coupling pockets out, because they fit in like that. So that comes out. Keep it the right way up. Now what I'm going to do is pull that out and push this in. Now this is a KD19. It wants to go in. Which doesn't want to go in, but we shall see if it can be persuaded. There we go. So that can go into there. And straight away I can tell that's not going to work either, because that is too short. This bit of the coupling needs to be out beyond the buffers. So I'm going to put tension locks back in, because that ain't going to work. You can get longer KDs. KD 20s, I think they are. There might even be a 21. I'll have to have a look. So, a problem. Right. But as you can see here, if those two pieces are touching, like if I put it like that, so they're under tension, there ain't a lot there. That's poor design. What that basically means is this coupling block is in the wrong place, or rather this pocket is in the wrong place. The standard tells you how far that should be back from the buffer face, and that is too far. So, Mr. Dapol, not brilliant. You could fix it with a longer coupling pocket, so just have this piece here a little bit longer. That would work. Or you're going to need different couplers. So for now, the solution to this is going to be not to couple them together. What I'm going to do is put another wagon in between. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll be back at the layout, and we'll see how we can do. Right, so here we go. Now what I've done, as the Q6 drags it out, I've put the 6-wheel van in between them. And it seems to be working. This curve here is quite gentle, but there's plenty of space there. And if you look, you can see the decoupling actually comes out in front of the buffers. On most of the other vans, the coupling is in front of the buffers. On these, it's basically in line with them. So, yeah, bit of a design flaw. Yeah. Not quite sure how that one will have got past testing. I suspect it's one of these things that didn't get tested because, I mean, to be honest, why would you? You sort of just assume things like that are going to work. But apart from that, and as I say, you can fix that. You just have to change the couplings. Apart from that, as she runs around the depths of Underworld, they're running fine. I mean, they're coping fine with the point work, forwards and backwards. Obviously, with the exception of the coupling gap issue. But so what I'm going to suggest off that is the wheels are all right. I've had a few issues with Dapol wagons derailing where the wheels are a little bit out of round. That's out of round. Not square on the axle, should we say, so the vans wobble. These don't seem to wobble. Or if they are, they're not wobbling very much. Yeah, let's have another look as they come around. See if I can see one. And obviously, they're not going particularly quickly here. Just, well, The Q6 doesn't, 2265 Q6 doesn't go very fast. I mean, these are more sort of express type wagons, so they probably should go a little bit quicker than this. Yeah, they don't seem to be wobbling. Not noticeably, no more than anything else. So, yeah. Right, well, I'm going to take these back up to the station, and we shall have another look. Interesting. Right, so then as she comes around here to emerge from the tunnel past Leopard Junction signal box there, with a rather nice little light. Really do need to get the rest of that high street sorted out. Yeah, so a little goods rake. Yeah. Let's push the boat out and speed her up a bit. And yeah, individually, these wagons are fine. Now, if I'd only bought one of them, I think this is a problem I would never have found. However, with two of them, yeah, the couplings just aren't right. It's sad. They look brilliant. They're cheap wagons, but it's all very well being cheap, but you've got to work. And being part of a train, I'm going to say, is actually quite an important part of the deal. So, yeah. And those wheels are a bit shiny, but I bought the unweathered ones, so that was a little bit to be expected. Just going to bring her in here, clear the point work, and then we'll hit stop. So there we are. The Dapol Fruit D wagon in Palethorpe Sausages livery. There are other liveries available for these. I can't remember which ones they are. I saw this one and I just thought, yes. As I say, they were built for the Great Western, not for the London North Eastern. I'm not that bothered, to be honest with you. They're private owner wagons. Private owner wagons can end up just about anywhere. I have got no information as to how accurate this livery is, or that one. I'm going to suspect if it is, it's a 1950s stroke 1960s type thing. Possibly late 1940s, I don't know. But something of that ilk. So in theory, a little bit out of space on this layout. Then again, I've also got a bright yellow tank wagon. And I don't care, I like sausages. So then, what do we think of them overall? Price-wise, brilliant. Dapol, I don't know how they do it. They knock these things out of the park on price. Sub 20 quid for a wagon these days. I'm not complaining. Level of detail, it's basic. There's no wire handrails. There's none of that sort of thing. But it's a sub 20 quid wagon. What do you expect? And things like the ventilators on the roof, these are all part of the mouldings. Yeah, see previous comments. The running steps and everything on the side, they look really nice. I do like how the sides of these look. Obviously, it's black plastic. Now, at some point, I'm going to weather these, at which point these steps will be a bit lighter. I mean, I'm going to weather the whole rake, but that's by the by. So level of detail, I'm going to say is, bear in mind, everything here is for the price. Level of detail for the price, excellent. Printing, excellent. This is proper tampo printing. There's none of this UV, slightly strange printing on the side. You can't feel any of it. It's all flush. Looks really good. Free rolling, yeah, they're okay. They're not the best I've got, but they're okay. I suspect part of it when they're slowing down towards the end on my curve is it's a long wheelbase wagon. That's a sharp curve. That's fine. Friction-wise, my Q6 has handled this rake without any problems whatsoever. There are little bits of random slowing down around the layout. You may have noticed. That's not the wagons. That's I need to sort the bus wiring out. That's a side issue. And they're a bit of fun, so I like them. So I mean, the ultimate is, would I have any more of them? I don't, strictly speaking, need any more of them because I think 2 is fine. If I wanted a longer rake of these, say 4, yeah, I'd get some more. I'd even with the coupling issue, because these are NEM pockets, that's fixable. It's a little bit irritating, but it's fixable. Worst case is I'll have to print some new socket pieces for that so that the couplings come out a little bit further. Or pull the coupling part way out of the socket and put a dab of glue on it so it holds in the right position. When these go to KDs, that's probably what I'm going to do. It'll be copied X or a glue I can remove. I'm not fussing around with it. But that's that. So that is the Dapol Fruit D in Palethorpe Sausages livery, and I'm getting quite hungry, so I'm going to call the end of the video here. Yeah, overall comment, really nice wagon, let down by a little bit of a design flaw with the couplings being far too tight. I mean, just look at that. You can see, get it focus. This is another Dapol wagon, the Whitby Brewery. You can see where the coupling, the loop ends compared to the buffers. You can see where the coupling ends compared to that. These are probably a little bit too long. That's definitely way too short. Anyway, other than that, there's been Leopard Street. I hope this one's been interesting. Anybody got any of these? If so, have you noticed any problems with them? Have you got more than one? If you've only got one, like I say, I think you're going to be perfectly fine. When I was shunting these around earlier, individually up here when I was making the train up, no issues. When I shunted them as a pair over this sort of point work, no issues. It's just, I think you're going to need, as out the box, you're going to need probably a 24-inch radius curve for these to go round safely. And if you're pushing them around tighter curves, they're going to come off really easily. So yeah, and for once, it's not the wagon's weight. These are nice and weighty. They've got metal wheels. They run quite nicely. Anyway, that's it for this video. Likes, comments, shares, more than welcome. One final very quick point. On my last video with servos, Kelly pointed out, I've taken the springs out. The points are too quiet. They need to make a noise. They do make a noise. It's the click of the relay, which I can hear. So yes, there is audible feedback. But it's a very good point. If you've got these things moving totally silently and you tell one to move, how do you know it's moved? Interesting point. Anyway, catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Leopard Street, and goodbye.